Have you ever locked eyes with someone and felt the world grind to a halt as if fate itself reached out and tethered your souls together? For Alex Kane, the alpha of the Shadow Ridge Pack, that moment came unexpectedly in the quiet hum of a Silverbrook bookstore where the scent of old paper mingled with the faint aroma of rain-soaked streets outside. It was a Tuesday afternoon, the kind where the sky hung heavy with gray clouds, and Alex, seeking a rare moment of peace, wandered into the cozy shop, its shelves packed with stories waiting to be discovered. Alex wasn't just any man. At 24, he carried the weight of leadership with a quiet intensity that commanded respect. His broad shoulders and sharp hazel eyes hinted at strength, but it was his calm, deliberate presence that made his pack follow him without question. As alpha, his life was a balancing act: college classes, pack duties, and the ever-present threat of rogue wolves testing the borders of their territory. Silverbrook, a small city nestled between ancient forests and rolling hills, was their home, a place where humans lived blissfully unaware of the werewolves who walked among them. The Shadow Ridge Pack had protected it for generations, and Alex was determined to uphold that legacy. That day, he hadn't planned on staying long. He'd come to pick up a book for his business management course, something about corporate strategy he'd barely skimmed. The bookstore was a sanctuary, its creaky wooden floors and soft jazz playing in the background, a stark contrast to the chaos of his usual life. He was scanning the shelves, half lost in thought about an upcoming pack meeting, when he felt it, a pull like a thread tugging at his chest. His gaze lifted, and there she was. Mia Harper sat in a worn leather armchair by the window, her dark auburn hair catching the dim light filtering through the glass. She was engrossed in a tattered paperback, her brow furrowed slightly, as if the story held secrets she was determined to unravel. Her green eyes, flecked with gold, flickered up briefly, and for a split second, they met his. The world didn't just pause, it vanished. The chatter of other patrons, the hum of the heater, the patter of rain outside, all of it faded, leaving only the electric current that seemed to spark between them. Alex's breath caught, his wolf stirring deep within, a primal instinct whispering that this moment mattered. She looked away first, her cheeks flushing as she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, and returned to her book. Alex forced himself to move, grabbing a random book from the shelf to cover the fact that he was still staring. Who was she? He didn't know her, yet something about her felt achingly familiar, like a memory he couldn't place. His wolf, usually calm and controlled, was restless, urging him closer. But Alex wasn't one to act on impulse. He took a seat at a small table nearby, pretending to read while stealing glances at her. She was young, maybe 22, with a quiet strength in the way she carried herself, shoulders squared, but a faint shadow in her eyes, like someone who'd seen too much too soon. Mia, though he didn't know her name yet, was rebuilding her life in Silverbrook. After losing her family in a car accident 5 years ago, she'd moved to the city to start fresh, living with her aunt and taking art classes at the local college. The grief still lingered, a quiet ache she buried under sketches and late-night walks, but she was trying to find her place in the world. That day, the bookstore was her escape, a place where she could lose herself in stories and forget the questions that haunted her. Questions about the accident, about the strange dreams of wolves that had plagued her since she was a teenager. Alex watched as she scribbled a note in the margin of her book, her fingers smudged with pencil lead. He wanted to talk to her, to hear her voice, but what would he say? "Hi, I'm Alex, and I can't stop staring at you because my wolf thinks you're important." He almost laughed at the thought, shaking his head. Instead, he settled for observing, noting the way her lips curved when she read something amusing, the way her fingers tapped rhythmically against the armrest. Every detail felt significant, as if he were memorizing her without meaning to. The bell above the door jingled, snapping him out of his reverie. A group of students walked in, their laughter breaking the spell. Mia glanced up, then packed her book into a worn canvas bag and stood to leave. Alex's heart sank, a strange urgency gripping him. He couldn't let her walk away, not yet. Acting on instinct, he grabbed a napkin from the table and scribbled a quick note. "Your book looks interesting. What's it about?" "The guy in the corner." He handed it to the barista, a friendly older woman who raised her eyebrow but agreed to pass it along with Mia's coffee order. Mia paused at the counter, surprised when the barista slid the note her way. She read it, her lips twitching into a small, hesitant smile. Turning, she scanned the room until her eyes found Alex. He raised his coffee cup in a casual salute, his heart pounding as she hesitated, then walked over. "You're nosy," she said, her voice light but tinged with curiosity. "Maybe," Alex replied, his grin easy but his pulse racing. "I'm Alex. Mind if I join you for a coffee?" She studied him for a moment, her green eyes searching his face, then nodded. "I'm Mia. Sure, why not?" And just like that, the thread of fate tightened, pulling them closer. As they sat together, talking about books in the rainy Silverbrook weather, neither knew that this chance encounter was the start of something bigger, a journey of love, danger, and secrets that would test their hearts and reshape their lives forever. Alex Kane's life was a tightrope walk, a delicate balance between the ordinary and the extraordinary. By day, he was a 24-year-old college student at Silverbrook University, blending into lecture halls with a backpack slung over one shoulder, scribbling notes on supply chain logistics. By night, he was the alpha of the Shadow Ridge Pack, a leader whose every decision carried the weight of lives, both human and wolf. The duality was exhausting, but it was all he'd ever known, a legacy passed down from his father, who taught him that strength wasn't just in claws and teeth, but in the choices made under pressure. The morning after his bookstore encounter with Mia, Alex woke to the buzz of his alarm in his small off-campus apartment. Sunlight filtered through the blinds, casting golden streaks across the hardwood floor. He stretched, muscles aching from a late-night patrol, and glanced at his phone. 3 missed calls from Lucas, his beta, and a text from his best friend, Nate. "You alive, or did the rogues finally get you?" Alex smirked, typing a quick reply. "Still kicking. Meet me at the diner." I needed coffee, food, and a chance to clear my head before the day's chaos began. Silverbrook was a city of contrasts. Cobblestone streets lined with ivy-covered shops sat alongside sleek glass buildings, a place where history and progress collided. Beneath its charm, though, it was a battleground. The Shadow Ridge Pack had guarded it for centuries, their existence a secret woven into the city's fabric. Lately, rogue wolves, lone wanderers with no pack loyalty, had been creeping closer, their sightings increasing along the forest borders. Alex felt the tension like a storm brewing, a constant hum in the back of his mind. At the diner, Nate was already waiting, his lanky frame slouched in a booth, a half-eaten stack of pancakes in front of him. Unlike Alex, Nate was human, but he'd known about the pack since they were kids, a secret he guarded fiercely. "You look like you slept in a ditch," Nate teased, pushing a mug of coffee toward Alex. "Feels like it," Alex admitted, taking a sip. The warmth steadied him, but his thoughts were elsewhere, on Mia, her green eyes, the way her smile had felt like a spark in the dark. Patrols kept me up. Rogues are getting bold again. Nate raised an eyebrow. Same old, but that's not what's got you brooding. Spill it." Alex hesitated, running a hand through his dark hair. Nate had a knack for seeing through him, a trait both annoying and comforting. "I met someone," he said finally, his voice low, "yesterday at the bookstore. Her name's Mia." Nate's grin was immediate. "Well, damn, the big bad alpha's got a crush? Tell me everything." "It's not like that," Alex said, though his half-smile betrayed him. "I don't know what it is. It's like my wolf knows her, but I don't. She's different, Nate. I can't explain it. Nate leaned back, folding his arms. You've been carrying this pack for years, man. Always on, always ready. Maybe this is your gut telling you to live a little. You've got a hole in you, Alex, and you pretend it's not there. Alex shot him a look, but the words hit home. He'd always felt it, a quiet emptiness, a longing for something beyond duty. Reading the pack gave him purpose, but it didn't fill the nights when he ran alone through the forest, the moon's silver light his only companion. Mia, though, she'd stirred something new, a flicker of possibility he hadn't felt in years. After breakfast, Alex headed to campus, blending into the crowd of students. In his economics lecture, he sat in the back, his notebook open, but his mind elsewhere. The professor's voice droned on about market trends, but Alex was replaying every moment with Mia, the way her fingers traced the pages of her book, the hesitant warmth in her voice when she'd agreed to coffee. He shook his head, trying to focus. Distractions weren't something he could afford, not with the pack counting on him. Later, at the pack house, a sprawling cabin hidden deep in the woods, Alex faced a different kind of pressure. The air was thick with tension as his betas, Lucas and Sarah, briefed him on the latest rogue sightings. Maps covered the oak table, red pins marking incursions near the eastern border. They're testing us, Lucas said, his voice clipped. 3 sightings this week, closer each time. Sarah, the pack's enforcer, crossed her arms. We need to hit back, Alex. Show them we're not soft. Alex nodded, his jaw tight. Double the patrols. Lucas, map out a new location. Sarah, take a team and scout the eastern ridge tonight. No one goes alone. His voice was steady, authoritative, but inside his wolf was restless, sensing a shift in the air. The rogues weren't just wandering, they were organized, and that meant trouble. As the meeting wrapped up, Alex stepped outside, the cool forest air grounding him. He leaned against the porch railing, staring into the trees. The pack was his family, his responsibility, but it came at a cost. Nights like these, when the weight of leadership pressed down, he felt that emptiness Nate had called out. He'd never admitted it aloud, but he wondered what it would be like to share his life with someone, to have more than duty to anchor him. His thoughts drifted back to Mia. He didn't know her story, not really, but he'd seen the shadows in her eyes, the same kind he carried. Something about her called to him, not just as a man, but as a wolf, as if she were a piece of a puzzle he hadn't known he was solving. He pulled out his phone, hesitating, then typed a quick message to Nate. "You're right. I need to see her again." The reply came fast. "Told you. Go get her, Alpha." Alex chuckled, pocketing his phone. For the first time in a long time, he felt a spark of anticipation, a sense that something was coming, something that could change everything. As the moon rose, casting its silvery glow over the forest, Alex made a silent vow. He'd find Mia again, and he'd figure out why she felt like the answer to a question he'd been asking his whole life. Mia Harper sat in her usual corner of the Silverbrook bookstore, her sketchbook open on her lap, pencil scratching softly against the paper. The faint hum of jazz drifted through the air, mingling with the scent of old books and brewing coffee. It was her sanctuary, a place where the weight of the world felt lighter, where the ghosts of her past couldn't quite reach her. 5 years ago, she'd lost her parents and younger brother in a car accident, a tragedy that left her with more questions than answers. She moved to Silverbrook to start over, living with her aunt and taking art classes at the university. But the memories lingered like shadows, especially in quiet moments like this. It had been 2 days since her coffee with Alex Kane, the guy with the easy grin and hazel eyes that seemed to see right through her. Their conversation had been light, books, the rain, the quirks of Silverbrook. But there was something about him that stuck with her, a warmth that made her feel less alone. She hadn't expected to see him again so soon, but when the bell above the bookstore door jingled and she glanced up, there he was, scanning the room until his eyes found hers. Her heart gave a small, involuntary lurch. "Hey, Mia," Alex said, his voice low but warm as he approached. He held a coffee cup in one hand, a warm paperback in the other. "Mind if I join you again?" She hesitated, then smiled, closing her sketchbook. "Only if you promise not to spill coffee on my drawings." He chuckled, settling into the chair across from her. "No promises, but I'll try." There was a playful ease to him, but his gaze held a quiet intensity, like he was studying her, not just the moment, but her. They fell into conversation easily, talking about favorite books and the way Silverbrook streets seemed to hold stories of their own. But as the minutes ticked by, Mia felt a shift, a pull to share something deeper, something she rarely spoke about. "You ever feel like you're carrying something you can't explain?" she asked suddenly, her voice softer, her fingers tracing the edge of her sketchbook. Alex tilted his head, his expression open, inviting her to continue. She took a breath, the words spilling out before she could stop them. "When I was 17, my family, we were in a car accident. My parents and my little brother, Ethan, they didn't make it. I was the only one who walked away." Alex's face softened, his eyes steady on hers. "I'm so sorry, Mia. I can't imagine." She nodded, her throat tight. "The thing is, it wasn't just a normal accident. I mean, that's what the police said. Black eyes, a sharp turn. But I saw something that night, something I've never told anyone." She paused, her hands clenching slightly. There was this shape in the road. It looked like a wolf, but it was huge, and its eyes, they glowed, Alex, bright, like fire. I know it sounds crazy, but it was there, and then it was gone, and then everything went wrong. Alex's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly, but his voice remained gentle. "That doesn't sound crazy. Sometimes things happen that don't make sense, not right away. Did you ever figure out what it was?" Mia shook her head, her auburn hair catching the light. "No, I tried to tell myself it was just shock, trauma messing with my head, but I've been having dreams ever since. Wolves, forests, this feeling like I'm running from something or toward it. I don't know. It's like there's a piece of me missing and I don't know how to find it." Alex leaned forward, his elbows resting on his knees. "You were meant to survive, Mia. Maybe those dreams are trying to tell you something, to help you find that peace." She looked at him, her green eyes searching his face. There was something in his tone, a certainty that made her want to believe him. "What about you?" she asked, deflecting. "You've got this vibe, like you're carrying something heavy too. What's your story?" Alex hesitated, his fingers tapping the rim of his coffee cup. "I lost someone too," he said finally, his voice quieter. "My dad, a few years back. He was important to a lot of people. And when he was gone, I had to step up, take on responsibilities I wasn't ready for. It's a lot sometimes." Mia nodded, recognizing the weight in his words. "Sounds like we're both trying to figure out how to keep going." "Yeah," Alex said, a small smile tugging at his lips. "But it's easier when you've got someone to talk to." Their eyes met, and for a moment, the bookstore faded away, leaving just the two of them, tethered by shared pain and something unspoken. Over the next few days, their paths kept crossing, chance meetings at the coffee shop, a shared walk through Silverbrook's cobblestone streets.
A quiet moment watching the sunset from a park bench. Each time, Mia found herself opening up more, sharing glimpses of her grief, her art, her dreams of wolves that felt too real. Alex listened, his presence steady, but he shared carefully, guarding parts of himself she couldn't yet reach. One evening, as they sat on a bench by the river, the water reflecting the fading light, Mia sketched absently in her notebook. "You ever feel like you don't belong anywhere?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Alex looked at her, her hazel eyes softening. "All the time. But then I meet someone like you, and it feels like maybe I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." Mia's cheeks flushed, and she looked down at her sketch, a rough outline of a wolf, its eyes glowing faintly. "You're too smooth, Alex Kane," she teased, but her heart was racing. There was something about him, something that felt like home, even as her dreams grew more vivid, more urgent, hinting at a truth she wasn't ready to face. As they parted ways that night, Mia couldn't shake the feeling that her past was catching up, that the wolf in her dreams was more than a memory. And Alex, watching her walk away, felt his wolf stir, whispering that Mia was more than she seemed, a mystery tied to his world, one he was determined to unravel no matter the cost.
The air in Silverbrook carried a restless energy, as if the city itself sensed the undercurrents of something ancient stirring. For Mia Harper, the past week had been a whirlwind of chance encounters with Alex Kane, each one pulling her deeper into a connection she couldn't explain. They'd run into each other at the bookstore, the coffee shop, even the farmer's market where she'd been sketching the vibrant stalls. Each meeting felt less like coincidence and more like fate, a thread tightening between them. Alex's easy smile and steady presence were a balm to the quiet ache she'd carried since her family's accident. But her dreams, vivid, relentless visions of wolves with glowing eyes, were growing stronger, leaving her restless and unsettled. Alex felt it too, a pull that went beyond attraction. His wolf, usually a controlled force within him, was restless, pacing inside his mind whenever Mia was near. There was something familiar about her, a scent, a spark that tugged at memories he couldn't place. As alpha of the Shadow Ridge pack, he was used to trusting his instincts, but this was different, primal, undeniable, and tied to Mia in a way that made his heart race and his duties feel heavier. The rogue wolf sightings were escalating, and he couldn't shake the feeling that Mia was connected to the unrest, even if she didn't know it yet. It was a crisp Saturday morning when Mia found herself at the edge of Silverbrook's forest, her sketchbook tucked under her arm. She'd taken to walking the trails, hoping the quiet would soothe her restless mind. The dreams had been relentless. A wolf with her green eyes, running through moonlit trees, pursued by shadows. She'd woken that morning with her heart pounding, the image so vivid she'd sketched it in a frenzy. Now, standing among the towering pines, she felt the forest hum with life, its energy both calming and electric. She hadn't expected to see Alex, but there he was, jogging along a trail, his dark hair damp with sweat, his shirt clinging to his broad frame. He slowed when he spotted her, a grin breaking across his face. "Mia, you stalking me now?" he teased, catching his breath. She laughed, her cheeks flushing. "You wish. I'm just drawing. The forest helps me think." He raised an eyebrow, glancing at her sketchbook. "Mind if I join you? I could use a break from running." She hesitated, then nodded, her curiosity outweighing her usual caution. "Sure, but only if you keep up." They walked deeper into the forest, the trail winding through dense trees, the air thick with the scent of pine and earth.
Alex seemed at ease here, his steps sure, his eyes scanning the surroundings with a quiet vigilance. Mia noticed, her artist's eye catching the way his shoulders tensed slightly, as if he were listening for something beyond the rustle of leaves. "You know these woods well," she said, breaking the comfortable silence. "Grew up running through them," Alex replied, his voice light but guarded. "They're special, full of stories."
Mia smiled, her fingers brushing the rough bark of a tree. "I get that. I keep dreaming about this place. Wolves, mostly. It's weird, like they're trying to tell me something." Alex's steps faltered, his hazel eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that made her breath catch. "What kind of wolves?" he asked, his tone careful. She shrugged, suddenly self-conscious. "Big ones. One has my eyes, which is creepy. They're running, always running, like they're chasing something or being chased. I don't know. It's probably just stress." Alex didn't respond immediately, his jaw tightening. "Maybe it's more than that," he said finally, his voice low. "Sometimes dreams are memories, in a way." Mia frowned, about to ask what he meant, when a low, guttural sound echoed through the trees, a growl too deep to be a dog. Alex stiffened, his body shifting instinctively to shield her. "Stay close," he said, his voice sharp, authoritative. "What was that?" Mia whispered, her heart pounding as she scanned the shadows. "Probably just an animal," Alex said, but his eyes were narrowed, glowing faintly in the dim light. Mia blinked, sure she'd imagined it, but the air felt heavier now, charged with tension. The growl came again, closer, and Alex's hand found hers, his grip firm but gentle. "We should head back." They moved quickly, the forest no longer a sanctuary, but a maze of potential threats. Mia's pulse raced, her dreams flashing in her mind, the wolf, the chase, the glowing eyes. As they reached a clearing, Alex stopped, his gaze fixed on a cluster of trees. "Mia," he said softly, not looking at her, "if I tell you to run, you run. No questions." Her stomach twisted. "Alex, what's going on?" Before he could answer, a shadow moved. A wolf, massive and sleek, its amber eyes glinting with malice. It didn't attack, just watched, its presence a silent threat. Alex growled low in his throat, a sound that sent chills down Mia's spine. The wolf backed away, melting into the trees, but the message was clear. They were being watched. Alex turned to her, his expression a mix of worry and determination. "You okay?" he asked, his voice softer now. Mia nodded, her hand still in his. "What was that thing? It wasn't normal." He hesitated, then squeezed her hand. "Silverbrook's got its secrets. I'll explain, but not here. Let's get you home." As they walked back to the city, Mia's mind raced with questions. The wolf in the forest felt like a piece of her dreams come to life, and Alex, his reaction, his strength, the way he seemed to know more than he was saying, only deepened the mystery. She glanced at him, his profile sharp in the fading light, and felt that pull again, stronger now, binding them together. Back at her aunt's house, Alex lingered at the door. "Be careful, Mia," he said, his eyes searching hers. "And if you dream again, tell me. Promise?" She nodded, her throat tight. "Promise." As he walked away, Mia clutched her sketchbook, the image of the wolf with her eyes burning in her mind. Something was coming, something tied to her past, to Alex, to the forest. And whatever it was pulling them closer, whether they were ready or not. The streets of Silverbrook were quiet under the twilight sky, the glow of streetlights casting long shadows as Mia Harper walked home from her art class. Her mind was a tangle of thoughts, replaying the unsettling encounter in the forest with Alex 2 days ago.
the massive wolf with amber eyes, Alex's protective stance, the growl that seemed to rumble from deep within him. It all felt like a piece of her recurring dreams, blurring the line between reality and the surreal. She clutched her sketchbook tighter, the weight of unanswered questions pressing on her chest. Alex had promised answers, but he'd been scarce since, leaving her to wrestle with the mystery alone. She didn't expect to see him tonight, but as she rounded a corner near the riverbank, there he was, leaning against a lamppost, his hazel eyes catching the light. "Mia," he said, his voice low, urgent. "We need to talk." Her heart skipped, a mix of relief and apprehension. "You've been avoiding me," she said, crossing her arms. "What was that thing in the forest, Alex? And don't tell me it was just an animal." He glanced around, ensuring they were alone, then gestured toward a nearby bench. "Sit. This isn't easy to explain." Mia sat, her green eyes locked on him, searching for truth. Alex took a deep breath, his usual confidence replaced by a rare vulnerability. "What I'm about to tell you, you might not believe it at first, but I need you to listen, really listen." He paused, his gaze steady. "I'm not just a guy, Mia. I'm a werewolf, the alpha of the Shadow Ridge pack here in Silverbrook." Mia's breath caught, her mind reeling. "A werewolf?" she said, her voice a mix of disbelief and curiosity. "Like howling at the moon, transforming werewolf?" Alex nodded, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "Yeah, but it's more than that. It's who I am, who my family's been for generations. We protect the city, keep it safe from threats most people don't even know exist. Like that wolf in the forest, it was a rogue, one without a pack, and they're getting bolder." Her hands clenched in her lap, her thoughts flashing to the glowing-eyed wolf from her family's accident, the dreams that haunted her. "And me?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Why does this feel connected to me?" Alex leaned closer, his expression softening. "I think you might be like me, Mia. Not fully awakened, but part of you is wolf. Your dreams, the accident, the way you feel in the forest. It's your heritage buried deep. Your parents, they might have been hiding it to protect you." Her eyes widened, a flood of memories surfacing. Her mother's cryptic warnings about staying away from the woods, her father's hushed conversations she'd never understood. "That's impossible," she whispered, but the words felt hollow. Deep down, something in her stirred, as if his words were unlocking a door she'd always known was there. Before she could respond, a rustle came from the nearby alley. Alex's head snapped up, his eyes glowing faintly gold. A figure emerged, a man, tall and wiry, with a predatory smirk. "Well, well, Alpha, telling secrets to your new friend?" Alex was on his feet in an instant, shielding Mia. "Back off, Jace," he growled. "You're on my territory."
Jace laughed, his eyes glinting amber. "Just curious about the girl. She smells interesting." He lunged, faster than Mia could process, but Alex was faster. His body blurred, a low growl ripping from his throat as he tackled Jace, pinning him to the ground. Mia's heart pounded, her vision sharpening inexplicably, catching every detail. The flex of Alex's muscles, the flash of fangs in Jace's snarl. "Stay away from her," Alex snarled, his voice barely human. Jace struggled, then went limp, his smirk fading as he slunk back into the shadows. Mia stood, her legs shaky. "What the hell was that?" she demanded, her voice cracking. Alex turned to her, his eyes returning to Hazel, though his breathing was heavy. "A rogue. They're testing me.
testing us. I'm sorry you had to see that." She shook her head, anger and fear mixing. "You can't just drop 'you're a werewolf' on me and then fight some creep in an alley. What am I supposed to do with this?" Alex stepped closer, his voice gentle but firm. "You don't have to do anything alone. I'll help you figure this out. There's someone in my pack, Ellie, our healer. She's trained others like you, help them awaken their wolf side. If you're ready, she can guide you." Mia hesitated, her mind a storm of doubt and curiosity. "And if I'm not ready?" "Then we take it slow," Alex said, his hand brushing hers, sending a spark through her. "But you need to know who you are, Mia. It's the only way to stay safe." The next day, Mia found herself at the pack house, a rustic cabin hidden deep in the forest. Ellie, a wiry woman with kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude, greeted her warmly. "You've got strength in you," Ellie said, leading her to a clearing. "Let's see if we can coax it out." Training was grueling, breathing exercises, focus drills, and physical challenges that left Mia aching. But with each session, she felt something shift, a heat in her core, like a dormant fire flickering to life. Ellie was patient, encouraging, but Alex, who watched from a distance, seemed tense, his jaw tight whenever Ellie praised Mia's progress. One evening, after a particularly intense session, Mia confronted him. "What's your problem?" she asked, hands on her hips. "You wanted me to train, but you act like I'm doing something wrong." Alex ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident. "It's not you. Ellie's great, but I don't like how close she's getting. You're new to this, and I'm supposed to protect you." Mia's eyes narrowed. "Protect me or control me? I'm not some damsel, Alex. I need to understand this. Myself, my past. You can't keep me in the dark." He sighed, his shoulders slumping. "I know. It's just, you're important, Mia. More than you realize. And I'm scared of what happens if you get hurt." Her anger softened, replaced by a warmth she couldn't ignore. She stepped closer, her voice quiet. "Then help me, Alex. Be with me in this, not against me." He looked at her, his eyes searching hers, and nodded. "Okay, together." As they stood there, the forest whispering around them, Mia felt the pull between them deepen, a bond forged in secrets and shared truths. But the rogue's words lingered in her mind, and the fire within her burned brighter, hinting at a power and a past she was only beginning to understand.
The moon hung low over Silverbrook, its silver light filtering through the dense canopy of the forest, casting eerie shadows that danced across the pack house's porch. Alex Kane stood at the edge, his hazel eyes scanning the tree line, senses heightened. The air felt charged, heavy with the scent of pine and something darker, an unfamiliar wolf's presence that set his instincts on edge. The rogue sightings had been escalating, but this was different, more deliberate. As alpha of the Shadow Ridge pack, Alex knew a storm was coming, and it was tied to Mia Harper, the woman who'd upended his world with her green eyes and unawakened power. Mia was inside the pack house, sitting cross-legged on a worn couch, her sketchbook open but untouched. Her training with Ellie had intensified, each session coaxing out flickers of the wolf within her, a strength she both feared and craved. But the revelations about her possible heritage, the connection to her family's accident, and Alex's guarded intensity left her restless. She felt like a puzzle with missing pieces, and every step closer to the truth brought more questions. Alex's protectiveness was comforting, but it also chafed against her need to understand herself. The pack house buzzed with quiet activity, Betas, Lucas, and Sarah poring over maps marked with red pins, rogue sightings creeping closer to Silverbrook's heart. Alex entered, his presence commanding silence. "We've got a problem," he said, voice low but firm. Scouts reported a new scent near the eastern border. Not a rogue, organized. Someone's leading them. Lucas frowned, tapping a pin on the map. Another pack? No one's challenged our territory in years. Before Alex could respond, a low howl echoed from the forest, chilling in its clarity. Mia's head snapped up, her heart racing. It wasn't just a sound, it felt like a call, tugging at something deep inside her. Alex's eyes met hers, a flicker of worry passing through them. "Stay here," he told her, then nodded to his betas. "Let's move." But Mia wasn't one to stay put. She followed, slipping out behind them, her curiosity outweighing her fear. The forest was alive with whispers, wind, leaves, and the faint rustle of movement. Alex and his betas moved with practiced precision, their forms blending into the shadows. Mia trailed at a distance, her breath shallow, until they reached a clearing where a figure stood, exuding a dangerous calm. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with jet-black hair and amber eyes that gleamed like embers in the moonlight. His presence was magnetic, but there was a coldness to it, a predator's edge. Behind him stood 3 wolves in human form, their postures tense, ready. "Alex Kane," he said, voice smooth but laced with menace. "The Shadow Ridge Alpha. I expected more intimidation." Alex stepped forward, his body coiled like a spring. "Zane," he growled, recognizing the rival alpha from whispered stories. "You're a long way from your territory. What do you want?" Zane's smirk widened, his gaze shifting to Mia, who'd stepped into the clearing despite Alex's warning. "Her," he said simply, his amber eyes locking onto her with unsettling intensity. "Mia Harper, the lost daughter of the Nightshade pack. Your bloodline belongs to us." Mia's stomach dropped, her mind reeling. "What are you talking about?" she demanded, her voice steadier than she felt. "I don't know you." Zane tilted his head, feigning surprise. "Oh, but I know you. Your parents thought they could hide you from your destiny. They betrayed us, Mia, and left a debt that's come due. You're one of us, a Nightshade wolf, unawakened but powerful, and I'm here to bring you home." Alex moved in front of Mia, his growl low and dangerous. "She's not going anywhere with you. Silverbrook is ours, and Mia's under my protection." Zane laughed, a cold, sharp sound. "Protection? You can't even protect your own borders. My pack's been watching, waiting. Your complacency makes this easy." He stepped closer, ignoring Alex's warning stance. "Mia, your parents stole something from us. Power, loyalty, a legacy. You can repay it. Join us willingly, or we'll take Silverbrook and you with it." Mia's hands clenched, her dreams flashing. Wolves, glowing eyes, a sense of belonging she'd never understood. "My parents died to keep me away from you," she said, her voice trembling with anger. "I'm not yours." Zane's eyes narrowed, his smirk fading. "You'll see, little wolf. Blood calls to blood, and if you resist, everyone you care about pays the price." He glanced at Alex, his tone turning icy. "Starting with him." Alex lunged, but Zane was ready, dodging with unnatural speed. The rival wolves snarled, ready to pounce, but Zane raised a hand, halting them. "Not tonight," he said, his smile returning. "Consider this a warning. We'll be back." With that, he melted into the shadows, his pack following. leaving an oppressive silence in their wake. Mia's legs felt weak, but she stood her ground, her eyes locked on Alex. What did he mean, my parents' debt? What's the Nightshade pack? Alex exhaled, his fists still clenched. Zane's the alpha of a rival pack, one with a history of violence. Your parents, they must have been part of his pack before they fled. If they betrayed him, he's not the type to let it go. Why didn't you tell me? Mia asked, frustration lacing her voice. You knew my dreams, the wolf in the forest. You knew it might be tied to this. I didn't know for sure, Alex admitted, his voice heavy. I suspected, but I didn't want to scare you until I had answers. I'm sorry, Mia. I should have been upfront. She shook her head, torn between anger and the pull she still felt toward him. I need to know who I am, Alex. No more secrets.
He nodded, stepping closer, his eyes softening. No more secrets. We'll figure this out together. But Zane's dangerous, and he's not bluffing about coming for you. We need to be ready. Back at the pack house, Alex rallied his betas, doubling patrols and fortifying defenses. Mia watched, her mind a storm of fear and determination. Zane's words echoed, blood calls to blood, and the fire within her, the wolf she was only beginning to understand, burned brighter. As Alex gave orders, his gaze kept drifting to her, protective but tinged with something deeper. She felt it too, a bond growing stronger with every shared truth, even as Zane's threat loomed like a gathering storm. The forest surrounding Silverbrook pulsed with life, its dense canopy filtering the morning sun into dappled patterns on the ground. Mia Harper stood in a clearing near the Shadow Ridge pack house, her breath visible in the crisp air, her body humming with a strange electric energy. Since Zane's chilling appearance, her dreams of wolves had intensified, and the fire within her, the unawakened wolf, felt closer to the surface. Ellie, the pack's healer and trainer, stood before her, her wiry frame steady as she guided Mia through drills to coax out her latent powers. Focus on the heat in your chest, Ellie instructed, her voice calm but firm. Let it flow, don't fight it. Mia nodded, closing her eyes. She pictured the wolf from her dreams, its green eyes mirroring her own, and felt a surge, a warmth spreading through her veins, sharpening her senses. The rustle of leaves became distinct, the scent of pine almost overwhelming. She opened her eyes, her vision keener, catching the flicker of a squirrel darting up a tree 50 yards away. That's it, Ellie said, a rare smile breaking through. You're getting stronger, faster than I expected. From the edge of the clearing, Alex Kane watched, his arms crossed, his hazel eyes unreadable. As Alpha, he'd insisted Mia train to protect herself, especially after Zane's threat, but his jaw tightened every time Ellie praised her progress. Mia noticed, her focus wavering. His protectiveness, once a comfort, now felt like a leash, and the tension between them had been simmering since their confrontation about secrets. The session ended with Mia landing a swift dodge, her movements fluid, almost instinctual. Ellie clapped her on the shoulder. You're a natural, Mia. Keep this up and you'll be running with the pack in no time. Mia grinned, exhilarated, but when she glanced at Alex, his expression was stormy. He turned away, heading toward the pack house without a word. Frustration flared in Mia's chest. She thanked Ellie and followed him, her boots crunching on the forest floor. Inside the cabin, she found him at the map table, staring at patrol routes but clearly distracted. What's your deal, Alex? She demanded, shutting the door behind her. You wanted me to train, but every time I make progress, you act like I've done something wrong. Alex's shoulders stiffened, but he didn't look up. I'm just making sure we're ready for Zane. You don't know what he's capable of. That's not it, Mia shot back, stepping closer. You're hovering, glaring at Ellie like she's the enemy. I'm trying to understand who I am, and you're making it harder. If you don't trust me, it's not about trust, Alex snapped, finally facing her. His eyes flashed gold, a sign of his wolf rising. You're diving into this head first, Mia, and it's dangerous. You're not ready to face what's coming, and I can't. He stopped, running a hand through his dark hair, his voice dropping. I can't lose you. Mia's anger faltered, her heart catching at the raw edge in his words. Lose me? She said softly. Alex, I'm right here, but I can't keep living in the dark. Not about Zane, not about my parents, not about this thing inside me. You're the one who said we're in this together. He exhaled, his shoulders slumping. I know. It's just, you're not just anyone, Mia. He hesitated, searching for words. You're everything I didn't know I needed. And the thought of you getting hurt because I didn't protect you, it kills me. The air between them thickened, charged with unspoken emotions. Mia stepped closer, her green eyes searching his. I'm not helpless, she said, her voice steady but soft. I'm learning, growing stronger. But I need you to believe in me, not just protect me. Alex's gaze softened, and he reached out, brushing a strand of auburn hair from her face. His fingers lingered, the touch sending a shiver down her spine. I do believe in you, he murmured, more than you know. Time seemed to pause, the world narrowing to the space between them. Mia's breath hitched as Alex leaned in, his eyes dropping to her lips. She didn't pull away. Instead, she closed the gap, her lips meeting his in a kiss that was both tentative and hungry, a release of the tension that had been building for weeks. His hands found her waist, pulling her closer, and she melted into him, her fingers curling into his shirt. The kiss deepened, a spark igniting into a fire, carrying the weight of their shared fears and unspoken promises. When they parted, breathless, Mia rested her forehead against his, her heart pounding. Was that okay? Alex asked, his voice low, a smile tugging at his lips. Mia laughed softly, her cheeks flushed. More than okay, she whispered, her eyes shining. But don't think this gets you out of explaining why you're so weird about Ellie. Alex chuckled, the tension easing. Fair enough. Ellie's great, but I guess I'm jealous. Not of her, but of how easy it is for you with her. I want to be the one helping you through this. Mia's smile softened. You are helping me, Alex. Just let me stand on my own, too. He nodded, his hand squeezing hers. Deal. But I'm still keeping an eye on you.
They stood there, hands entwined, the pack house quiet around them. Outside, the forest whispered, a reminder of the threats lurking beyond, Zane, the Nightshade pack, the secrets of Mia's bloodline. But in that moment, their bond felt unbreakable, a lifeline against the coming storm. Mia's wolf stirred within her, stronger now, and with Alex by her side, she felt ready to face whatever truths awaited, even as the shadows of her past grew darker. The air in Silverbrook crackled with tension, like the moment before a thunderstorm breaks. The forest surrounding the Shadow Ridge pack house was no longer a sanctuary, but a battleground, its shadows hiding threats that grew bolder with each passing night. Alex Kane stood on the porch, his hazel eyes scanning the tree line, his wolf senses picking up the faint scent of unfamiliar wolves. Zane's Nightshade pack had been probing the borders, their attacks small but deliberate, skirmishes meant to test the Shadow Ridge pack's defenses. Alex's jaw tightened. As Alpha, he'd faced challenges before, but this felt personal, tied to Mia Harper and the secrets of her past that were unraveling faster than he could control. Inside the pack house, Mia sat at the long oak table, her sketchbook closed, her green eyes sharp with focus. Her training with Ellie had awakened flickers of her wolf, enhanced senses, bursts of strength, but she was still untested, a wild card in the escalating conflict. The kiss she and Alex had shared days ago lingered in her mind, a spark of warmth amidst the growing dread. But Zane's words, "Your bloodline belongs to us?" echoed louder, stirring questions about her parents' betrayal and the Nightshade Pack's claim on her. She felt the weight of it all, a storm gathering inside her as much as around them. The pack was on edge, the main hall buzzing with activity. Lucas, the strategist, pinned new markers on a map, his brow furrowed. 3 attacks this week, he said, his voice clipped. They hit fast, retreat faster. They're mapping our patrols. Sarah, the enforcer, leaned against the wall, her arms crossed. "We need to hit back, Alex. Show them we're not prey." Alex nodded, his voice steady but heavy. "We will, but we need to be smart. Zane's not just testing us, he's looking for weaknesses. We tighten the eastern border, triple patrols, and no one moves alone." His eyes flicked to Mia, a silent promise to keep her safe, but her expression was resolute, a fire in her gaze that hadn't been there before. As the meeting broke, a scout burst through the door, breathless. "Alpha, we caught one, a nightshade wolf, sneaking near the river. He's talking." Alex's eyes narrowed, and he gestured for Mia to stay put, but she followed, her determination overriding his caution. They found the captive tied in a shed, a young wolf named Kyle, his amber eyes defiant despite the bruises on his face. "Zane is coming for her," Kyle spat, glaring at Mia. "You can't stop him. He knows things about your pack, your plans." Alex's growl was low, dangerous. "What things? Who's feeding him information?"
Kale smirked, but his bravado faltered under Alex's stare. "Ask your own people, Alpha. Not everyone's as loyal as you think." The words landed like a blow, and Alex's mind raced. A traitor in the pack? It was unthinkable, yet Kale's certainty gnawed at him. Back in the hall, Alex gathered his inner circle. Lucas, Sarah, Ellie, and a few trusted scouts. Mia stood nearby, her presence a quiet strength. "We have a leak," Alex said, his voice cold. "Someone's talking to Zane. I need to know who." The room tensed, eyes darting between pack members. Sarah's fists clenched. "No way it's one of us. We've bled for this pack." "Maybe it's not intentional," Ellie offered, her voice calm but wary. "Someone could be careless, overheard at the wrong time." But the doubt hung heavy, fracturing the trust that held them together. Mia's stomach churned. She was an outsider here, yet the pack's survival felt tied to her, her unawakened wolf a beacon for Zane's obsession. Later, Alex and Mia walked the forest trails, needing air to clear their heads. The moon was a sliver, casting faint light through the trees. "Do you think it's true?" Mia asked, her voice low. "A traitor?" Alex's jaw tightened. "I don't want to believe it, but Kale knew too much. Patrol routes, weak points. It's not random." He stopped, turning to her, his eyes searching hers. "Mia, if Zane gets to you—" "He won't," she said firmly, stepping closer. "I'm not the scared girl I was a month ago. I'm learning, Alex. I can fight." Her words were fierce, but the vulnerability in her eyes betrayed her fear, not of Zane, but of the unknown within her. Alex's hand cupped her cheek, his thumb brushing her skin. "I know you can, but you're not just fighting for yourself. You're part of us now, part of me." His voice softened, raw with emotion. "I can't lose you, Mia. Not when I'm just starting to understand what you mean to me." Her heart raced, the fire within her flaring at his touch. She leaned into him, their lips meeting in a kiss that was both desperate and grounding, a promise to face the storm together. When they pulled apart, Mia's voice was steady. "We'll find the traitor, Alex, and we'll stop Zane. Together." As they returned to the pack house, a howl pierced the night, a nightshade signal close and taunting. Alex's eyes glowed gold, his wolf ready. Mia felt her own power stir, a growl building in her throat. The betrayals within and the threats without were closing in, and the war Zane promised was no longer a distant shadow. It was here, and they were running out of time.
The full moon hung heavy over Silverbrook's forest, its silver light slicing through the dense canopy, casting the clearing in a ghostly glow. Alex Kane stood at the center, his Shadow Ridge pack arrayed behind him, their eyes glinting with resolve. The air was thick with the scent of earth and tension, the kind that precedes a storm breaking. Zane's Nightshade pack had been probing their borders for weeks, but tonight was different. This was no skirmish. The howls echoing through the trees signaled an all-out assault, and Alex knew it was about more than territory. It was about Mia Harper, the woman whose unawakened wolf had drawn Zane's obsession and whose bond with Alex had become his anchor. Mia stood a few paces back, her heart pounding, her green eyes scanning the shadows. Her training with Ellie had sharpened her senses, but the fire within her, the wolf she'd only glimpsed, remained elusive. Zane's claim that she belonged to his pack, that her parents' betrayal had marked her bloodline, gnawed at her. She felt the weight of it, the fear that she might be a liability, but Alex's steady presence grounded her. He'd rallied the pack with a fierceness she admired. Yet the traitor's identity, still unknown, cast a shadow of doubt over their unity. The first sign of the enemy came as a low growl, followed by movement in the trees. Zane emerged, his amber eyes blazing, his broad frame radiating menace. Behind him, a dozen Nightshade wolves in human form fanned out, their postures coiled for violence. "Alex," Zane called, his voice dripping with mockery. "Still playing the hero? Hand over the girl, and we might let your pack limp away." Alex's growl rumbled deep, his eyes flashing gold. "You're on my land, Zane. You want to fight? You've got one. But Mia stays with us." Zane's smirk widened, his gaze locking onto Mia. "She's Nightshade blood. You can't change that." He raised a hand, and his wolves charged, their forms blurring as they shifted mid-stride into massive, snarling beasts. The clearing erupted into chaos. Alex shifted into heartbeat, his sleek and powerful wolf form meeting the onslaught with teeth and claws. The Shadow Ridge pack followed, their howls piercing the night as they clashed with Zane's forces. Mia's breath caught, her body frozen as wolves collided around her, the sounds of snarls and yelps deafening. She wanted to fight, to help, but fear rooted her in place. Alex fought with precision, his focus on Zane. The two alphas circled, their movements fluid, deadly. "You're outmatched," Zane sneered, dodging a swipe. "She'll be ours." Alex lunged, his jaws snapping, but Zane was fast, his claws raking Alex's flank. Blood stained the forest floor, and Mia's heart stopped as Alex staggered, pain flashing in his golden eyes. "Alex!" she screamed, her voice cutting through the chaos. Another Nightshade wolf joined Zane, overwhelming Alex. A claw slashed deep into his side and he collapsed, his breathing labored. The sight of his blood, dark against the moonlight, snapped something inside Mia. A primal rage surged, a heat in her chest exploding into a wildfire. She fell to her knees, clutching her head as her vision blurred, her bones aching with a force she couldn't contain.
A scream tore from her throat, echoing through the forest, and her body transformed. Skin rippled, bones cracked, and fur sprouted, sleek, auburn, glowing faintly under the moon. When she stood, she was a wolf, her green eyes burning with power, her form radiating strength. Instinct took over, and she charged, her movements precise, tearing through Zane's wolves with a ferocity she didn't know she possessed. She reached Alex's side, standing protectively over him, her growl low and dangerous. Zane's confidence faltered, his amber eyes narrowing. "So the little wolf awakens," he muttered, but there was no time for taunts. Mia lunged, her jaw snapping, forcing him back. She fought with a singular focus: protect Alex, protect the pack. Her claws raked Zane's flank, and he snarled, retreating as his wolves faltered, overwhelmed by her sudden power and the Shadow Ridge pack's renewed vigor. With a final, desperate swipe, Mia sent Zane sprawling. He staggered to his feet, bloodied, his pack retreating into the shadows. "This isn't over," he spat, his eyes blazing. "You can't escape your blood." "Yes, it is," Mia growled, her voice resonant even in the wolf form. "Stay away or you won't walk away next time." Zane hesitated, then vanished into the forest, his pack following. The clearing fell silent, the air heavy with the aftermath. Mia's wolf form faded, her human self trembling as she knelt beside Alex. His wounds were deep, but he was breathing, his eyes flickering open. You were incredible, he rasped, a faint smile on his lips. Tears streamed down Mia's face as she pressed her hands to his wound. Don't talk, she whispered, her voice breaking. You're going to be okay. The pack gathered around them, their faces a mix of awe and relief, but Mia's world narrowed to Alex, her heart pounding with fear and love. As the moon bathed them in light, Mia felt her wolf settle, a newfound strength anchoring her. The battle was won, but Zane's parting words lingered, a promise of more to come. For now, though, she held on to Alex, their bond stronger than ever, a beacon against the gathering storm. The forest surrounding Silverbrook was cloaked in the soft glow of dawn, the first rays of sunlight piercing the canopy to dapple the ground in gold. The Shadow Ridge pack house stood quiet, its wooden walls bearing the scars of the recent battle, a reminder of the night Mia Harper had awakened her wolf and turned the tide against Zane's Nightshade pack. The air was still, carrying the faint scent of pine and healing herbs, as the pack recovered from their wounds and their victory. For Mia, the world felt different now, her newly awakened wolf a steady hum beneath her skin, both exhilarating and daunting. She stood on the porch, her auburn hair catching the light, her green eyes fixed on the horizon where the forest met the sky. Alex Kane emerged from the cabin, his side bandaged, but his step steady. The wound from the battle had been deep, but the pack's healer, Ellie, had worked her magic, and his werewolf resilience was pulling him through. He paused beside Mia, his hazel eyes soft with relief and something deeper. "You're up early," he said, his voice warm but rough from exhaustion. "Couldn't sleep?"
Mia shook her head, a small smile tugging at her lips. Too much to think about. Everything's changed. She glanced at him, the memory of her wolf form, sleek, powerful, protective, still vivid. I'm not sure who I am anymore, Alex. He stepped closer, his hand brushing hers, sending a familiar spark through her. You're Mia Harper, he said firmly, the woman who saved my life, who faced down Zane like it was nothing. You're pack now, wolf or not, and you're stronger than you know. Her throat tightened, his words anchoring her in the chaos of her new reality. The battle had been a turning point, not just for the pack, but for them. The bond that had grown through shared secrets and dangers had crystallized in that moonlit clearing, and Mia felt it now, a pull that went beyond words. She turned to him, her eyes searching his. Alex, when I saw you go down, I thought I'd lose you. That's when it happened. My wolf. It was like it knew I couldn't let you go. Alex's expression softened, a rare vulnerability breaking through his alpha demeanor. He took her hands, his grip steady. Mia, I've been falling for you since that day in the bookstore. Every moment with you, every fight, every quiet talk, it's made me realize you're not just part of my world. You're my world. I love you. Tears welled in Mia's eyes, but they were tears of joy, not fear. She stepped closer, her voice barely above a whisper. I love you too, Alex. I was scared to say it, scared of what it meant with everything going on. But I'm not scared anymore. He leaned in, their foreheads touching, the world narrowing to the warmth of their breath mingling. Their lips met in a gentle, lingering kiss, a promise sealed in the quiet of the morning. When they pulled apart, Mia's smile was radiant, her heart full, despite the uncertainties ahead. So what now? She asked, her tone light, but her eyes serious. Zane's gone, but he said it wasn't over. Alex's jaw tightened, but his gaze remained steady. He's licking his wounds, but he'll be back. We've got time to prepare, to strengthen the pack. And you're not facing this alone. We'll train, plan, and keep Silverbrook safe. Together. Inside, the pack was already rebuilding, their laughter and chatter a stark contrast to the tension of days past. Lucas and Sarah were at the map table, plotting new patrol routes, while Ellie tended to a young wolf's scratches, her eyes gleaming with pride at Mia's transformation. The pack's bond felt stronger, forged in the fire of battle and Mia's unexpected strength. She was no longer an outsider, but a vital part of their family, her wolf a symbol of hope. As evening fell, Alex and Mia joined the pack in the clearing where the battle had raged. The full moon had waned, but its lingering light bathed them in silver. The pack gathered around a bonfire, their howls and laughter echoing through the trees, a celebration of survival and unity. Mia stood beside Alex, her hand in his, feeling the pulse of her wolf sync with the pack's energy. For the first time, she felt like she belonged, not just to Alex, but to this world of wolves and secrets. Yet, as the fire crackled, a distant howl cut through the night, faint but unmistakable, a nightshade signal lingering on the wind. Alex's eyes met Mia's, a silent acknowledgement of the threat still lurking. Zane's defeat was temporary, and the mysteries of Mia's bloodline, her parents' betrayal, remained unsolved. The forest seemed to whisper, its energy alive with the promise of new challenges. Under the fading moonlight, Alex squeezed Mia's hand. "Whatever comes next, we face it as one," he said, his voice resolute. She nodded, her wolf stirring, ready for the battles ahead. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey with Alex and Mia in the heart of Silverbrook's shadows. Their love, forged in danger and loyalty, has only begun to face the tests of fate. What would you do if your past came calling, demanding a price you didn't know you owed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This chapter may have closed, but new threats loom, promising more passion, danger, and destiny. Like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay tuned for the next chapter of their saga. We've got so much more to unravel.